Live across WA from the studios of 7 Perth, Susannah Carr and Rick Ardon.
Tonight, our city blasted as boring and backward. Jeff Kennett says we're like North Korea.
A heartbreaking homecoming. Tears for victims of the Garuda Airlines crash.
And the 13-year-old boy is accused of setting fire to a century-old landmark.
You're watching 7 News.
Good evening, welcome to 7 News. Also tonight, the AFL's drug warning to players.
And the cancer treatment that comes straight from the patient's own body.
But first, a blast for our city and state from a former Premier of Victoria. A week after slamming Perth as sterile, Jeff Kennett has added salt to the wound, claiming Western Australia is like the backward communist state of North Korea. Mr Kennett says Perth's shopping hours and opposition to daylight saving are evidence of narrow-mindedness. But he's copped a serve right back from Senior Minister Alana McTiernan.
Jeff Kennett having another go at Perth, this time likening us to a Stalinist state, because we're the city that says no to longer shopping hours.
An environment that to me is a bit like, with due respect, North Korea.
We're also like a communist backwater because petitions are gathering against daylight saving.
That's the North Korean philosophy. Put up the borders, put up the walls, isolate yourself.
Jeff Kennett's audience, business leaders from the Chamber of Commerce. The boom, he told them, gave WA the chance to break free from being more than just a mining economy.
What a wonderful challenge it would be to have a benevolent dictatorship here in Western Australia for 5 to 10 years. All right, and actually do something. Imagine using all of that wealth.
Jeff Kennett is credited with making Melbourne exciting during a tumultuous 7-year premiership.
We want to see our politicians being bold. We don't want them to see our politicians relying on referendums every time a big issue comes up.
But another Victorian export is seething.
But let's not start from the premise that Perth is pathetic. Perth is a glorious city.
As Planning Minister, Alana McTiernan is helping shape a new Perth.
Let's not start our planning project from the premise that we've got a crap city.
As for retail trading hours,
I'm very proud of the people of Perth that they were prepared to say that there's more to life than shopping.
Both agree about the need to improve Perth, the city's disconnect from the river, a shared concern. It's just how to change.
To say that I know best and the punters down there know nothing is a recipe for disaster.
Are we going to bunker down, put the shutters up and just try and hold the situation to the next election, or are we actually going to break out?
Rhys Whitby, 7 News.
Thanks, Jeff. And that's all from the 7 News team on this Wednesday night.
Thanks for watching. Here's Monika now with Today Tonight.
Hello again, welcome to the program. First, big moves to change daylight saving in WA. The issue's divided West Australians, and now one of the original architects of the time swap, Matt Burney, is launching a new plan. Instead of turning the clock forward for 5 months, he now says less is better. Graham Butler with this exclusive report.
Daylight saving is one of those very few issues that some people are feverishly in favour of and other people are terribly against.
Never a truer word spoken. Daylight savings has turned into daylight ravings, and everyone's had something to say to support their case.
I think different groups may have used some of those supposed benefits to push their own barrow. And I suspect we didn't look at some of the other implications as well, and some of those are people drinking more because they're in hotels or clubs or cafes and so on.
Professor Rob Donovan from Curtin University's Centre for Behavioural Research says he thinks we were sold a furphy.
I don't think anybody would have clapped their hands with glee and said, wow, it's daylight saving, I can go and do some more exercise.
With just over 2 weeks left of daylight saving, the debate is still as hot as our scorching summer. But the rules could be about to change again.
I know there's a lot of debate swirling around with respect to daylight saving. I'm listening, I'm learning, and I'll be acting on some of that advice.
Liberal MP Matt Burney, one of the architects of our daylight saving trial, says he's seen the light.
People should understand that the daylight saving trial is just that. It's a trial. We're all getting used to it. We're all trying to determine in our own minds what is the best model.
Matt Burney says he's got a new model and is planning a new private members bill to change the way WA observes daylight saving, a compromise that's shorter and earlier.
It will knock March out of the daylight saving trial and out of any future daylight saving should the referendum be successful. It will include October into daylight saving, and it will remove January and February, the two hottest months.
Perhaps the biggest change in Matt Burney's new plan is starting daylight saving at the beginning of October, a month before eastern states change their clocks.
When we originally wrote the daylight saving bill, we thought it was important that we should start and finish daylight saving at the same time that the eastern states do. I now accept that because Western Australia is in an entirely different position in the solar spectrum, if you like, to the eastern states, that we really should be taking advantage of the sunlight as it occurs in Western Australia.
Matt Burney says he remains a staunch supporter of daylight saving, but he says unless there's a compromise, the entire plan could be lost.
What I'm trying to do is to find a genuine compromise position. I would prefer to have 5 months' worth of daylight saving from a personal point of view, and I know that the pro-daylight saving lobby would also prefer 5 months. The anti-daylight saving lobby would prefer 0 months. So I've tried to find that compromise where we go from 5 down to 3.
Mr Burney's private members bill could be introduced in a few weeks.